There are three types of books: the ones you've read, the ones you know you haven't read, and the others, the books you don't know you don't know. The internet is a splendid invention, and it won't go away. If you know you want something, the internet can get it for you. My point, and the whole point of this essay, is that it's not enough to get what you already know you wanted. The best things are the things you never knew you wanted until you got them. The unknown unknown must be found otherwhere. And thus and therefore, the good bookshop. It is a room, or two, where the unknown unknowns of the world are laid out on tables and stacked in shelves. Hey everybody, thank you for watching Leaf by Leaf. Today we are celebrating the 10th annual Independent Bookstore Day. Independent bookstores lead us to those unknown unknowns. I love browsing independent bookstores. Why harping on independent bookstores versus just bookstores in general? Well, because independent bookstores are curated by book people, as opposed to chain bookstores, which simply or mostly just receive the distributions from the whole publishing machine. And so every independent bookstore is fairly idiosyncratic. And so you'll inevitably discover things you'll never discover in other bookstores, whether brick and mortar or online. One of my best discoveries that stays with me to this day while browsing an independent bookstore that sadly no longer exists is The Morning of the Magicians. This is without a doubt the best example I can cull from my library of these amazing discoveries of the unknown unknowns of the world. Today we're going to go to High Point, North Carolina's independent bookstore, Sunrise Books, and hang out to celebrate not only the 10th annual Independent Bookstore Day, but also the 7th birthday of Sunrise Books. And if you love independent bookstores, please leave a comment below just sharing that. Tell me what your favorite independent bookstore or independent bookstores are. I'd love to know some of the unknown unknowns you've discovered in independent bookstores. If you are a proprietor or on staff at a local bookstore, please feel free to plug below in the comments.
Independent Bookstore Day is a celebration of independent bookstores. There are exclusive items that you can only get at independent bookstores. There are books that are only available here that day. As I said, it's a celebration of independent bookstores, what makes us different. I am a reader, and I realized after living in High Point for 20 years, there's no independent bookstore here. I reached out to the American Booksellers Association and went to a training and yada yada, and here I am. I curate what's in the store. Of course, I have bestsellers, but there are books here that you just won't find anywhere else. I like to think of it like the old card catalog where you're flipping through, you look for the thing that you want and you find it, but right around there's a lot of other stuff that maybe looks interesting. Discovery. We love small presses, little tiny presses you never heard of, like Wave for a lot of our poetry. I pay taxes and I employ people, and I bought almost everything in this store locally. The money stays here. We have sunrisebookshp.com. You can order and pick up here, or you can have shipped, or we do deliveries still. We started that during the pandemic, and I have a Prius. I will drive your book to you. The other way is bookshop.org, and it's basically you choose your bookstore, and it's set up by book people. My friends who don't live nearby order through there because it's easy money for me, and you're supporting independent bookstores.
I am being sustained by an activity difficult to describe and even more difficult to justify. The constant shifting of attention from one object to another is like a bird's way of looking, cocking the neck from side to side to scan the visual field for signs of edible life. Life teems everywhere in these parts. The books are made of the stuff. Poke the beak in, turn up a wriggling mass of syntax, pick out a few juicy nouns, the swelling curve of an assertion. Yank away from that rock toward the next, repeat the process a dozen times. Shift uphill a bit and start again with a fresh batch. The sentences in the books I have read sequentially are nothing to the sentences come upon by stealth, raided in the middle of their stories. Tearing open the theologies of Byzantium or the memoirs of a pickpocket, I catch a glimpse of its heart and read the future there, even if it is only the future of my reading. The first inkling of a volume I will finally come to know so well that half a lifetime later the sentences will be furniture scuffed with long use, a surface marked endearingly with nicks and gashes and flaking varnish. I will by then have sat among the words so long that they will seem to bear the impress of my shape as much as I bear the impress of theirs.
My favorite thing about working at a local independent bookstore is the people. We get just the wackiest characters sometimes, and we get just people that are kind of our tribe, people who like what we like to read, and so we can talk books. Even if it's somebody who reads something completely opposite, you either learn something or you learn what you don't want to read. That's what I like.
While an algorithm might suggest a book that we are likely to enjoy based upon who we've been or what an advertiser might want us to think we want, nothing can replace the work of browsing to help us discover who we are or who we might become. In short, the aspiration of the independent bookseller is to provide the conditions by the power of the good bookstore to slow the reader down, that they might behold a more capacious vision of the possible. For me, to try to sum up why I believe so strongly in independent bookstores, I would say that two major things that are at stake for we readers in this world, in this current economic and political culture, are curiosity and imagination. Two things that are fostered abundantly at your local independent bookstore.